Hello everybody! It has been a week since I saw Sound of Freedom in the theater on opening day of 4th of July. And boy, I did a short reaction to that video, or to that movie, and I focused more on the storytelling method behind the picture. But many comments were asking me to do a full review. And since I've gotten many requests to do a full review for Sound of Freedom, here it is, a full review for Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom stars Jim Caviezel as Tim Ballard in this presentation of the true story of Tim Ballard's work as a government agent until he quit his job to form an organization to free children from human trafficking. This movie is basically the origin of that. It's the first case of Tim Ballard before he formed that organization. And a week later, this story is really still blowing me away. Nope, I haven't seen it again since then. I saw it once in the theater, and now I'm here to talk about the movie after gathering all my thoughts down. The movie starts with a father dropping off a son and daughter with a modeling agent to audition for modeling, only to find that the modeling agent is actually a trafficker who abducts the children and puts them in trafficking. Ugh. And then we get to the introduction of Tim Ballard and his work arresting a criminal on charges of pedophilia. And while Tim Ballard shows with a teammate how he has saved, or not saved, how he's arrested many criminals, a teammate asks him, "How many children have you saved?" And Tim Ballard keeps this question in mind as he moves on to his next part of the job, which is watching the content that these criminals are watching. The movie doesn't show the content. The movie actually shows a close-up on Tim Ballard's eyeball with his teardrop reaction as he has to type in to describe what the scene is depicting. And the question still boggles his mind. How many children have you saved? Are you going to save any children? And from here he realizes he has to save, the boy that he was just watching in this disgusting content he was watching. He goes on a trip to the country where some of these children may be. He gets into a fight over the phone with his boss about this trip, and his wife gets on the phone with him and tells him, "Quit your job, focus on rescuing these children." He meets an expert who knows the ins and outs about this. So after he saves the son from the opening scene, he is told that he has to save the daughter. The expert who knows the ins and outs of this stuff going on in this country teaches him how to put on the persona in order to lure these criminals in and get them arrested and save these children. When he and his teammates meet some of the first traffickers, or actually, they can't even meet them just yet. They have to figure out how to organize the right meeting in order to meet up with them face to face, because it's not so easy. So when Tim and his teammates meet with the traffickers for the first time, we as the audience, our blood is boiling, because we want to arrest them right away. But Tim and his team know that they have to save the children too. They have to lure the criminals into the right setting, bring the children into the process, and then get them with the rest of the team. High credit to Jim Caviezel for his performance, and high credit to the actors who are playing the traffickers. They knew how to transform into these evil criminals. They make you furious with them. And after the first big arrest and the first big rescue of these children, Tim Ballard realizes that he has to still save the daughter out there. And he finds out that he has to save her in the most dangerous circumstances. His team gets into these doctor disguises in order to enter this dangerous area with no suspicion. Your blood is still boiling through all of this. There is a scene where one of his teammates offers him a handgun for protection, and Tim Ballard turns it down, saying he's better off without it. In my head, I was thinking, yeah, good call. When he finds the girl, he can't just bring her back with him. So in the middle of the night, while we as the audience are still boiling and intensified throughout all this, Tim sneaks into the little girl's room. And at first the girl screams because she doesn't trust him right away, but he has to quiet her down. And he knows that all those evil men are outside, and they just heard the scream, and they're getting suspicious. So he tries to explain it to her. He's going to get her out of this, and he finds a hiding place. And the man who currently owns the room steps in to check on her. And without explaining too much, this leads into, a fight between Tim and, this evil man. He knows he can't just shoot him because that'll ignite a lot of noise and get the rest of those evil men out there suspicious and run in. And he can't stab him either because that might ignite some noise too and get the other evil men to run in. So he's got to make this fight as quiet as possible, take as little pain as possible, and assure that he can win this fight. And he does. He's able to. Actually, I shouldn't describe too much about the fight itself because actually the movie doesn't even show that much of it. The movie actually shows like these just really dark, quick cuts of the fight taking place, and you barely see the action that's going on as he is successfully able to choke the other guy out, and then he carries the girl and runs for their lives. They speed into a motorboat. They speed out. The traffickers are firing bullets at them everywhere. Thank God the bullets miss, and thank the Lord that Tim's teammates were still tracking him all this time. They get off the motorboat. They dash into the van. The van speeds out. Bullets are still flying everywhere. And we as the audience are completely engaged in all of this. We are fully immersed in this scene. Jim Caviezel's acting, the actors playing his teammates, the child actress playing the girl, the actors playing the traffickers, the camera angles, the score during this sequence engulfs you in this scene, makes you live through it as they successfully bring the daughter back to her family. It's an uncommon skill for filmmakers to engage audiences into the story. Not every movie needs to do this, but for stories this important, it's necessary. You want to make this movie as grand as you can possibly make it, and the filmmakers knew exactly how to do that. At the end of the picture, actual photos of the actual traffickers appear on screen, along with photos of how they got arrested. So you see those photos and think, wow, so that was the real trafficker. I remember when they showed the picture of the modeling agent after the earlier scene when she got arrested, and you're thinking, oh, so that was the real one. And also during the credits, Jim Caviezel gives info on what audiences can do from here. A long time ago when I was studying films back in film school, even before then, I thought in my mind, I think every movie I see should have a message that I can somehow apply to my life, to my way of living. If the movie doesn't provide that, I don't like the movie. If I'm just seeing a movie for a good laugh here and there, I'm not going to like the movie. If the movie has an important theme to it, whether the theme is as simple as good triumphs over evil, or a theme about living better, or a theme something, like, for example, something that's proper, something towards your way of living. In this case, Sound of Freedom, a true story about saving children from human trafficking. That to remind us that human trafficking is evil, yet very common in the world today, and how one person made a decision that led to his formation of this organization, and that this was just an early case that started it all. It's an important message. And with the impact that this movie is making on audiences around the world, and very much including the US, this is a special moment in cinema history. It really is. And as I said in the short reaction that I made last week, right after I saw the movie, that powerful cinematic storytelling is accomplished in this way, by engaging the audiences into the story and sending them out with an important message that can help them in their future, that can help them further apply this into their way of living. That's how powerful cinematic storytelling is accomplished. Sound of Freedom did it perfectly. perfect. Since then, Jim Caviezel has done some more live stream reactions where he talked about a sequel screenplay being written, which made me ask, wow, oh, a sequel screenplay has been written? Then again, the more I think about it, the more I realize Sound of Freedom did tell the origin. This is how Tim Ballard started his organization. After this case, he started his organization to form a much bigger team to step in, overseas, free children from human trafficking, arrest these traffickers. So wow, I'd say if they have the same confidence in this screenplay for a sequel, I'll fully support it. So again, I'm happy this movie was made, and I'm happy that after years of this movie being completed without being released, that it has finally been released by Angel Studios, the studio behind The Chosen, obviously. And who knows how long it'll take to make the sequel. I hope not too long. You know, if they're all for making a sequel. And I'm very happy that this movie was made. And if you still haven't seen the movie yet, if you're still skeptical about seeing it, I hope this review has encouraged you to buy a ticket and go see this movie while it's playing in theaters. You know, that's the other thing. I used to work in a movie theater. After I left that job, I didn't want to walk inside a movie theater again for a long time. And this movie, with all the advertising, all the live stream interviews, finally encouraged me to go to a theater to see it. I'm glad I did. That's what I have to say. And again, I hope my review has encouraged you to see it if you haven't seen it yet. If you have seen Sound of Freedom, how did you feel about the picture? You feel as strongly about the picture as I did? Do you feel that movies need to have specific messages that can be applied to your way of living, your way of living life in a way that honors the Lord in many ways, in ways that improves the lives of others? If you agree with me on this, share your thoughts in the comments section. Like and share if you enjoyed this live stream video. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more videos, hit the bell if you want notifications. I'm creating for you. Have a great week and a great life, and always love yourself for who you are. Now, if you'll excuse me, this is the final minutes of my 24-hour fast, which means as soon as I stop recording, I'm going to go downstairs and eat something. All right. Take care, everybody. Godspeed.